Welcome to a resume writing video tutorial brought to you by the Career Center at Lawrence University. This video is for you if you've never written a resume before, if it's been a while since you've updated your resume, or if you'd like to learn basic strategies for making your resume more effective. In this video, you'll learn what a resume is and what makes a resume effective. You'll become familiar with the 3 different resume formats and increase your awareness of the most common sections of a resume. You'll also begin creating an initial resume draft. You'll need the resume writing handout. A link of the online version of the handout is provided in the related links section. Hard copies of the handout are also available at the Career Center. You'll also need word processing software. Some paper to take notes might also come in handy, but that's optional. First of all, what is a resume? The word actually comes from the French, meaning summary. It provides a quick summary of your experience, skills, and abilities. Resumes are also marketing documents. When you think about marketing a product, you need to know 3 basic things. First, what is the product? Second, who is the consumer? And third, how will the consumer benefit from the product? Similarly, when writing a resume, you need to know, first, about the product. That's you. What are your skills, abilities, and experiences? Second, about the consumer. That's the employer to whom you're applying. What is the nature of their organization, and for what type of position are you applying? And third, how can you benefit the employer? The more you know about the employer and the position, the better you can decide which of your skills and experiences are relevant. Let's also remember not to expect your resume to get you a job offer. Typically, the purpose of the resume is to secure an interview. Now let's talk about how to make your resume effective. Relevant. That's a one-word definition of an effective resume. An effective resume will always be a tailored document and be written with a specific audience in mind. If you're thinking that sounds as though you'll need to write a different resume for every position to which you apply, you're right. But don't worry, you can create a grab bag resume that contains all of your experience. Then, as you apply for different positions, you can tailor down this grab bag document to fit the needs of the specific employer. An effective resume will also look great. It will be no longer than 1 page in length, be free of typos or grammatical errors, be uncluttered and contain a balance of white space, and have clear and distinctive section headings. It will be organized in reverse chronological order and be accompanied by a strong, relevant cover letter. There is information common to most resumes. This information, which is typically organized into sections, includes your name and contact information, an objective statement, your education, and your experience. You can add other sections to your resume depending on what you want to emphasize about yourself. For example, you may want to include sections called honors or related coursework after your education section. You may choose to create a specific section dedicated to your volunteer experience, or you might create a technical skills section if you felt this would be relevant to the employer to which you are applying. Later in the video, we will examine the common sections in more detail. Since one of the most robust sections of your resume is typically the experience section, it's important to be able to organize your experience in a way that's useful, meaningful, and relevant to employers. Assuming that the reader will be reading your resume from top to bottom, the different resume formats help you bring the most relevant information about yourself closer to the top of the document, thus making it more visible to the employer. Let's take a closer look at the 3 resume formats, starting with the chronological. The chronological format is the one that is most frequently used. It's most effective when you've had uninterrupted work in the same field, and that is the field to which you are currently applying. It also organizes your experience in reverse chronological order. The most recent experiences are first. The combination format is a favorite among college students because it is especially useful when you're entering a job market for the first time. It's also useful if you're changing fields. This format organizes the information on the resume by relevant skill headings. You select the skills you'd like to highlight based on the position for which you are applying, which allows you to effectively support your objective statement. Your position titles, which were emphasized in the chronological format, are located at the bottom of the combination format resume. They are not the focus of this type of resume, therefore they're not given a location of importance. Remember, the top of the resume is prime real estate. The functional format resume is very similar to the combination format. The primary difference is that your position titles are completely left off of this format. This format is best used when re-entering the workplace after a long absence. We won't spend a lot of time on this particular format since Lawrence students typically are better served using either the chronological or combination format resumes. Now that we know the basic structure of an effective resume, let's begin creating your resume. If you can, I'd suggest opening MS Word or other word processing software in another window so you can follow along. Please note that the screenshots used in this tutorial are from MS Word 2007. Please feel free to pause the tutorial at any time as you create your document. With a new Word document open, let's first take care of a few other formatting issues. In a moment, we'll be creating a header that contains your contact information. If for whatever reason your resume does exceed one page, you do not want your header to appear on the second page. From the Page Layout tab, click on Page Setup. A Page Setup dialog box should appear. Click on the Layout tab. Under Headers and Footers, place a check mark next to Different First Page and then click OK. Now let's begin creating your contact information section, which again will appear in the header of the document. Click on the Insert tab, then Header, then on Blank to open the header section. Begin by typing your full name. Both your campus address and your permanent address can be listed. Provide your phone number, the number where you can most easily be reached, and email address. In this example, we'll use both addresses and place them on either side of your name. A quick note about your email address and voicemail messages. Please use a professional email address, preferably your name at yahoo.com, for example. Avoid using quirky email addresses such as hotmama@yahoo.com. Also, if you will be graduating this year, remember that your Lawrence email account will be deactivated on July 1st following graduation. At the start of your senior year, you may already want to begin using a non-Lawrence email address when communicating with employers. With regard to voicemail, whether using your cell phone or a landline, ensure the message you provide is a professional one. Remember that your name is an important piece of information for the employer, so use font sizing and formatting such as bold to make your name stand out on the document. The objective statement tells the employer what position you are applying for and what skills you have to offer. Name the type of position for which you are applying, name the type of employer to which you are applying, and then name the skills, usually 2 or 3, that you have to offer the employer. For now, if you don't have a job target or a specific position to which you are applying, leave some blanks in your objective statement to remind you to tailor the statement once you have a job target. Your draft statement might read something like this: a blank position with a blank organization where these 3 skills would be assets. As you gain more work experience in your field, your education section will tend to fall lower and lower on the resume. However, as a current student or recent graduate, your education is highly marketable and therefore should appear close to the top of the resume, usually immediately after your objective statement. Begin by naming the institution and the degrees that you'll receive. Also include the month and year that you will receive your degree. Your majors and minors should also be included. List your GPA if it is equal to or above 3.0. As I mentioned earlier, you may also want to create additional sections that are related to your education. This example will include a related coursework section. Typically, your high school education should be left off the resume, except under special circumstances. For example, if you're applying for student teaching positions within the same district in which you attended high school, then including your high school information might be beneficial. The education section should be organized in reverse chronological order. Therefore, if you attended another higher education institution prior to coming to Lawrence, that institution should appear below Lawrence. Likewise, if you pursue graduate or professional school after graduation, those degrees would be listed above Lawrence. Before creating the Experience section, it would be useful to decide which resume format would best serve your purposes. For this video, we'll start with the chronological format. List your most recent experience first. Remember that both paid and unpaid experiences can be included in this section. The types of experiences to consider including in this section are internships, related part-time or summer jobs, officer or leadership positions within student organizations, as well as long-term related volunteer positions. Begin by listing your position title first. Then list the name of your employer and the city and state where the employer was located. Or, if the name of the employer is more significant, list it first, followed by the position title. Then, list the dates of employment. As in the example that you see, the years you were employed is usually sufficient. For now, leave room beneath the first listed position to include your accomplishments. These are also sometimes called resume phrases or impact statements. Move on to your next most recent experience. As this is an initial draft, include all of your experience, whether you think it's relevant or not. You can always edit out content from your resume. It's much more time-consuming and difficult to add content. Career Center staff can assist you with subsequent revisions to your resume, particularly in tailoring the document to specific positions. Once you've listed all your positions, let's go back to the most recent position and begin writing your accomplishments or resume phrases. Resume phrases are brief summaries of what you accomplished in your position. It is not necessary to list all of your duties. However, in your initial resume draft, you may find it easier to list anything you can remember about the position as a way to jog your memory about your work. Your final draft, however, will include much more concise, tailored resume phrases. Resume phrases are intentionally concise, removing any unnecessary verbiage. Don't be alarmed if your resume phrases are not complete sentences. Start your resume phrase with a past tense verb, a word that describes the action of your accomplishment. For example, coordinated, assisted, summarized, researched, communicated. Refer to the back of your resume packet for a quick list of action verbs. When appropriate, quantify your actions. For example, raised over $1,100 for local emergency shelter, or tutored 6 elementary school-aged children in math and science. The combination format resume is actually easier to write once you have a job target and after you've written a chronological format resume. If you've selected a job target and have written a complete objective statement, you will have already selected 2 or 3 skills to highlight for the employer. These skills in turn become the section headings for the experience section of the combination format resume. For example, if your objective statement reads, an archives internship with a museum where strong research, communication, and technical skills would be assets, then your skill headings would be research, communication, and technical skills. Looking back over your experience, list resume phrases that demonstrate that you possess each skill. Increasing numbers of employers prefer resumes to be submitted electronically, either by attaching the resume to an email or uploading the resume to an employer's or third party's website. There are a few different formats that are commonly used when submitting resumes electronically. MS Word. The pros are, most employers will be able to open and read your document. If you created the document in Word, no conversion is necessary. The cons are, your resume may appear differently to the employer than it did when you first created it. If you created your resume in MS Word 2007, it is advisable to save the document in the MS Word 2003 version to avoid problems opening it. Plain text. The pros are, there is very little chance that a plain text file will be corrupted. The cons are, all of your formatting will be lost. PDF. The pros are, your resume will look exactly the way you intended for it to look. The document cannot be accidentally altered. The cons are, You will need to convert the document to PDF, and the employer will need Adobe Acrobat Reader installed on their computer. However, many newer computers have this function standard. Your resume should be accompanied by a cover letter. When sending your resume as an attachment in an email, cut and paste your cover letter into the body of the email. When uploading your resume to a website, you may be given the option to cut and paste your cover letter into a text field on the site. These text fields may be called cover letter, comments, or additional information. If such a text box is not available on the site, cut and paste your cover letter above your resume so it appears as the first page of your uploaded document, with your resume appearing on the second page. If you submit your resume in paper format, make sure you print your resume on high-quality bond paper. These can be purchased by the sheet from the Career Center, or you can purchase large quantities from most office supply stores. Some drugstores and mega supermarkets also carry resume paper. Stick to traditional paper colors such as white, cream, or light gray. Be sure to use a laser printer to print the resume. You can use the Career Center's printers during regular office hours. As with electronic resumes, a cover letter should accompany your printed resume. The cover letter should also be printed on matching high-quality bond paper. Remember to sign the cover letter, preferably using blue ink. The cover letter and resume should be folded together accordion style so that the addressee can see their name on the cover letter as soon as they remove the documents from the envelope. By now you should have a resume that includes your name and contact information, a completed objective statement or one with blanks to fill in at a later date, an education section and possibly a related coursework and/or honors section, and an experience section in either chronological or combination format that includes the beginnings of some resume phrases. Keep in mind that in order for the resume to be effective, it will need to be tailored for specific positions. So remember that your resume can include additional sections such as related coursework, volunteer experience, technical skills, activities, or other sections that might be important to the employer. The next step is to set up an appointment with a Career Center staff member who will assist you in tailoring your resume for specific positions and adding the finishing touches to make your resume and cover letter as effective as they can be.